As for the requirement of Public Law 1975, Chapter 231, notice is hereby given that this is a regular meeting of the Borough of Highlands, Mayor and Council, and all requirements have been met. Notice has been transmitted to the Asbury Park Press and 3 times, and has been posted on the public bulletin board. Formal action will be taken. Time may be allowed for public comment at this meeting. Each speaker may be allowed a limited time when recognized by the presiding officer. Individuals wishing to address the council shall be recognized by the presiding officer and shall give their name, address, and group, if any, they represent. Although the council encourages public participation, it reserves the right to the presiding officer to terminate remarks and/or by an individual not in keeping with the conduct of proper and efficient meetings. The council will not, during the public portion of this meeting, discuss matters involving employment, appointment, termination of employment, negotiations, terms and conditions of employment, evaluation of the performance of, promotion, or disciplining of any specific or prospective or current employee. Roll call. Councilmember Brazza?
Here.
Councilmember Young?
Here.
Councilmember Mazzola?
Here.
Councilmember Ryan?
Here.
Mayor O'Neill is absent. Workshop. Monmouth County Dispatch.
Okay.
We are going to the dispatch center, Walker's shared service program.
Okay, good evening, everybody, and I appreciate you having me this evening. I had the opportunity to meet with a lot of you folks as you visited the 911 center over the past couple of weeks, and we got a full overview of the services that Monmouth County can provide. Good evening, Mayor. How are you? That can provide to you from an emergency services standpoint. I think you've got a full understanding of where or how we operate and what is, basically you'd be one of 24 municipalities that we provide services to from a police, fire, EMS standpoint. I've been in contact with the chief on several occasions, who's also been at the center and is fully aware of what's out there and what benefits are from an emergency services standpoint. As far as today, we came out and did an assessment of the equipment that's currently in place with the police department, and we found that it's time to do some upgrades as far as computers are concerned. Some of those are anywhere from 7 to 10 years old. Is it detrimental to any type of changeover? Absolutely not. It's just a matter of speed, like anything else. You buy a computer and the next day it's old. And that's the way technology is driven, unfortunately. We all get caught up in that. So, some minor investment that needs to be done so the police and fire, EMS, and emergency management folks can do their jobs effectively. So, it's pretty much all I have for you. I just, if you have any questions or something of me, and hopefully I can answer those for you or anybody in the emergency services area. Best I can offer you at this point. Yeah.
Couple of concerns, not about switchover, typically do that, but the frequency the fire department will be operating on. Are we using the old VHF registry system as it is in place now?
Yes. As it stands right now, on the county-wide fire system, the police are on the trunk digital radio system, and fire is on the VHF. So you'd be in North dispatch, and you would basically be paged out as you are currently. I think we just added you guys onto our system as a backup. Yeah, we did it last night. It works fine? Oh, that's good. I'm glad to hear that. Okay. Yeah, there were some concerns, I think, from some of the personnel that the signal wasn't making it down into these areas, and preliminary testing, and I'm glad to hear that that you're getting good signal here.
Portland Road tower where the north transmitter is, they originally put it up, it was too high. The signal was going right over top of it.
Correct.
That had to be lowered. Maybe 15 feet, so it's not better. there's some still spotty areas, because of the valley down here. But, it works. The other question the fire chief asked me to ask you couldn't make it tonight is, if we do this changeover, we'll be on the VHF mill system, which we already utilize now anyway. Will we still be allowed to use our local fire route now?
100%, absolutely. And we encourage that, especially in the shore communities that tend to have flooding and other things that happen. And from a local standpoint, it's good to maintain those systems to interop within your agencies here. We encourage that, actually,
That was the only concern fire knowing it, and
Okay.
thank you very much.
Does trustees have any questions or concerns? There's nothing.
Chris?
If you could step back and give an overview of what's going to be better with the new system and what problems and difficulties on the old system.
I don't know if you've heard the explanation.
Yeah, that was just talking about benefits.
So, it's kind of a broad question. Excuse me. Yeah, understood.
This might be the third communication system we put in Highlands since 2000.
So I'll give you an overview on from the county's perspective. So, a number of years ago, 5 years ago roughly, we installed a communications tower on Portland Road behind Henry Hudson. That benefits you folks tremendously because, you have no issues as far as, that's a full tower site for us. The location is good. We do have some challenges because of, getting down into this lower area off the hills. But we have contracted, or constantly in contract with Motorola Solutions, and we actually had some issues, and we actually had them do some engineering, and they do what they refer to as a down tilt antenna, which gets us down into this area rather nicely on the digital side. And the VHF side, not so much, because the fact that signal is better, it's a tighter circle. So, as far as an overview, the county...
Not so much that as much as what benefits are going through the Highlands, and then what problems are we solving? And then are we doing it at what kind of cost?
So there's the technical side of things from an equipment standpoint, radio systems, etc. And, but as it stands right now, from a personnel standpoint and us doing the dispatching, the positive sides are this. So we provide the 911 services to Highlands already, okay? So 911 call comes in, and then we turn around and all we do is transfer that call and send it into your local dispatch, which takes a little bit of time, okay? So we just turn over responsibilities over unless it's an emergency medical dispatch. Then we stay on the line, provide medical instructions to the caller, and then we transfer that over once help is on the scene, first aid, police, whoever's on location. The other benefits of this are that, as it's a countywide system, we have a same operating system. So we have Spillman, which is our CAD and record software, and it's information sharing countywide. So what happens in Highlands is seen in Seabright, Monmouth Beach, which are our partners of ours, as well as any other town throughout Monmouth County. So the police scan your driver's license, they can find out if you've been pulled over before, if you have any history. It's information sharing, which is vital at this stage of the game. And then also from a technical standpoint, we do mapping. We also, have, and we do this already with our emergency management partners, any flooding or anything like that. We have technical maps that show our flood zones, anything of that nature from an emergency management standpoint. So it's more communication behind the scenes, and then basically it's ridding you of the township, or the borough itself, of the personnel needs throughout the town.
We're doing what it was.
Correct.
it's state-of-the-art, Chris. We all went out and saw it. It's really,
It's
really sharp.
I'm sure it is.
It's so far ahead of what we are now, it's just,
And for an example, they have a whole wall, which is a video camera wall that shows any place they want in the county.
so you can follow a
You-
pursuit
if-
on TV in real
And
time.
they can move in and see, pinpoint the area if there's an accident. They can see what's necessary, they can come to the scene. It's really, it was very impressive. I think all of us have been there, we could tell you it was very impressive. Ken was,
Under Sheriff, in terms of our personnel, they have the opportunity to apply for positions at the county, correct?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, absolutely. And we encourage that, solely because we'd love to have the local knowledge here, in our center, because, listen, we have a lot of personnel. We just hired our 121st person, but they're all not from this area. We have a lot of folks from the Bay Shore region that know the area, which is great, but somebody with the internal knowledge of how things work in Highlands, that's always a bonus for us. And it gets us off the ground and gets us running rather quickly.
Ms. Gorka?
Maybe this is a concern that has to do with the ERP equipment, but people are constantly using Highlands and North Highlands. We have State Street, Bay Shore, and Bay Avenue. There's a lot of nuances to this town that I'm a little concerned, like I said, maybe it doesn't matter in my knowledge. I'm concerned that services being done to the town, the street, and there might be some delays where our person doing it on for sailors knows, no, stay out.
That's a legitimate concern, and it's one of the best questions that's put out there. So, the system's not perfect by any stretch of the imagination, and I'll be upfront about that. But we run into this anywhere we go. Monmouth County is a big county, and we have a lot of ocean avenues. We have State Route 35 that runs from Brielle all the way through, up through Aberdeen. And the numbers sometimes, match up. So when we get a 911 call, we're like, okay, what town is this coming from? So some things to safeguard with that is that the Spillman system is a GIS-based, and that's the technology side of it. But we've also employed other folks to come in, Rapid SOS. So 90% of our phone calls that come in are cellular. So we have this product called Rapid SOS. So when they call in, the call taker picks it up, and it's actually directly mapped. So it basically takes your location services, puts it right on the map. So it gives us almost like Find Your iPhone, and it puts it on a map, so the dispatcher can look straight up and says, oh, it's in Highlands. So it gives you that location straight up. One of the challenges that we have sometimes from like landlines and whatnot, the state system is actually very antiquated, and they're in the process, or they have been in the process for the past 10-plus years, trying to upgrade to the next generation 911. So that is a little bit of a challenge for us, and we get the information that comes inbound. But things have gotten a little smarter as far as the interaction with the caller, and it might sound a little silly, but, we say, what town are you calling from? And it's just that engagement that we have to do because it's such a large county. But knock on wood, we've been fortunate as far as pinpointing those addresses down. We are not. They've expected... No, I've talked to most of the county, okay, and talked about police dispatch and fire and EMS and different products that we can offer, and it'll be just a matter of time because technology costs a lot of money and there's more power in larger numbers. Okay?
then they won't be confusing us with Atlantic Islands. They'll get used to us first.
Right.
Anybody else?
Tell us about cross-discipline with your operators. If someone, say, calls in with a medical emergency, you have people available who are certified to help with a medical situation.
Well, you get that already with your 911 services. So we have a threshold for an operator to come on board with Monmouth County in the 911 side. They have to be emergency medical trained, and that is vital, because when they're answering a 911 call and it has a medical emergency attached to it, they have to be able to provide instructions to the caller on how to provide CPR, childbirth. You know, we've been down that road, many a time. So, everybody is cross-trained before they can enter the room. Even before application, we need them to take a basic telecommunicators course, emergency medical dispatch certified, and then we will actually interview them and actually provide them an offer of employment, and then they come in and get fully trained, which takes roughly about 4.5 months. But, listen, there could be a time that the person that lives, we have everybody from all over the county. So, if we hire that person from Highlands, is that person going to be sitting at that desk all the time? No, but we cross-train everybody because, let's face it, they're entitled to their days off. But will we poke somebody out of that, let's say, from Brielle? Absolutely not. We'll put somebody from this region that is familiar with the area, and it works out pretty good. So, and the one thing that the safeguard against all this is that we have a general policy, is that there's a shift supervisor on any shift for the police department. If there's any questions at all, whether there's a location miscue or something like that, have that dialogue with the police supervisor, and they can give you better information verbally than we can do and try to do to piece it together. And that's the safe part of that.
Anybody else from the table? Anybody from the audience?
Thank you very much, appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Whatever you need from me, please, I have my cell phone number, so you can ask me. All right, thank you, everybody. Have a good evening.
Thank you. Just like him.
So what we want to do this evening, can everyone see these reports?
Okay, very good, thank you. I'm going to have my back here a little bit, sorry about that. All right, so thank you very much for inviting us here this evening. What I'd like to do tonight is review the status of the design
for the new municipal building. I'm going to start by reviewing the program, talking to you a little bit about the variance from the program from when we started, and then go through the floor plans and the elevations in terms of where the administration is, where the police department is, and some of the orientation of the building. The building, when we began programming, was about 11,500 square feet. To date, through multiple meetings, the building now, as it stands under design, is about 14,500 or 14,400 square feet over the course of 2 stories. It contains the police department and the administration. The site plan for the building is as follows. 36 is left and right to the sheet, along the sheet. The Miller Street is vertical. The building is here on the corner. Police parking is on the lower level. The administration public parking is on the upper level. There is a grade change from the entrance to the upper level. This is the roof plan of the proposed building. So you can see both plans at the same time. On the right-hand side is the first floor plan. Everything that you see in blue is police. Main entrance to the building is here. Enter the building here. There is public access for records and dispatch. The rest of the building is secure police, again on the lower level. Second floor, main access is from the public parking area, on the second floor area. Everything that you see in the salmon color is administration. All the administrative public functions are accessible from this lobby here to the zoning window. You have a court clerk public window. All the remaining public windows are here. And the only place the public will go is this lobby, a meeting room, there are toilet rooms here, zoning and court clerk, and then all the public areas are here. The rest of the areas are secure, with the exception of, of course, the courtroom itself. Right? Courtroom's in the center. It's about 1.5 stories there, and you have public toilet rooms right here as well. The rest is administrative space for the court. There is a Sally port on the lower level where the PD is. So we try to separate the police department usage on the lower level, the administration on the upper level. The courtroom, public courtroom, is on the second floor. Any questions about the general part here, the layout of the zone, where the PD is, where administration is?
And we generally did that because for the surrounding neighborhood, the Borough Hall closes at 4:35 o'clock, so you didn't have the coming and going. That affected their backyard. It also gave the police department access to 76. You could go up and around the place.
These are the building elevations. They mainly contain three types of finishes. You will see brick finishes here. You will see aluminum and glass here. You will see a standing seam metal roof here. So the main elevation is the northeast elevation here. This is what you see from the public parking section. So if you're looking at it from the residential area, you see this. Looking at it from the highway, you would see this. This is the main entrance. and the rear of the building. Just three finish types: brick, aluminum glass, and a standing seam pitched metal roof. Try to make it as straightforward and as simple, as clean as possible. As you see the change in elevation here to there as well, you can see it a little bit easier here, right? This is where the public parking is, this is where the highway and the PD is. Any thoughts, questions, comments on that?
I believe the open end of the roof is for the mechanical. That's where it's replaced.
We do have some mechanicals behind there. You know, we're not, this end, Mayor?
Yeah.
That's correct. It's an open area for the roof. It's vented so we can place the mechanical units on, behind the roof. You won't be able to see them, but they'll be, fully vented.
Right.
Any thoughts on any questions, thoughts on any of the plans of the elevation? It's fairly straightforward. 2 stories, accessible from both levels, separate parking for police and for public, separate ingress for police and for public, and a streamlined design that kind of is as clean as it's going to be. And, very simple detailing with regard to brick and then glass and then a metal roof.
And that's glass on top of the metal roof, or, is that right?
Yes, correct. So we do have some skylights to let in a little bit of light on top, with regard to the court area. Right, the court area is on the second floor. So we had looked at it on the first floor as a double height space. We decided to place it through meetings with the mayor on the second floor. It's a little bit taller space, but not fully 2 stories, so we can take advantage of the lower level floors below the court.
We sort of using the upstairs for storage for the future, like the road calculations, I believe
So we try to do storage. We try to do it on the lower level where we don't have to use put steel to support it. So it's a slab on grade for storage, and then we'll have open span on the top floor. I do have some sections here that may be difficult to read. So here's some building sections here. So if we took a cut through the building, you'll see the entrance area is a double height space. You'll see the courtroom, which is a little bit higher space in red. You'll see some storage below. So the courtroom is a fairly tall space. You'll see the stairs here in the back of the building, and you'll see the court, what the inside of that court may shape up to be in terms of the most special space that's in your building. Let's just give you a section cut through, and I do have smaller sizes in there to leave with you this evening, but this gives you a section cut through of each one of the elevations.
So you can access the upstairs from the police department entrance to a staircase, which after hours will be locked and cordoned off, so you can access how to get upstairs. There'll be an elevator to the upstairs, which will be the same way, and the upstairs from the entrance from the public parking, unless they're having a function, will be locked. So there'll be no wandering around the building when this is locked.
Right, there are 3 very distinct types of spaces here. There's public space, in which is the space that you described, Mayor. The public will be limited as to where they can go.
Right.
There'll be semi-public spaces in which there are conference rooms, so that any of the private users can meet some of the public in a conference space. Then there's the private spaces that none of the public can get to unless they're invited to. So,
Police department, you won't be able to get in without one of Rob's guys saying to tell you that.
Or a special invitation, I guess.
Would anybody like to ask a question?
Just some general questions. Right now, what reading spaces are created? At this point, we use this, I mean, will these be maintained, or will there have to be meeting spaces in the town hall?
The new meeting space,
For environmental, or, trade shade tree commission, those kinds of things.
Well, we'll have a conference room right at the top of the stairs, and I believe downstairs also. That'll be in a public space. But for, say, land use board, we'd open up the upstairs court. Yeah.
So the courtroom is a public meeting space.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
And there are other conference rooms in the public, so that you can use this as well as that.
Or like you said, green team or open space, it's small, you need to go in there. But land use board or something where there's applicants, their testimony would be recorded.
so the courtroom here, we have a conference room here, second floor.
Chris, the thought is to get us out of this space, to better use this space for the community, of all of it. That's the goal.
That's what I was the police can get out on the 30, because that's their only access.
They can go around also.
Police
They have
parking,
access.
police parking, we can get to any location. We have designated police parking that's here. Site plan, there's designated police parking here, immediate access to 36. There's designated public parking here. There's a salary portion. And we can try to separate the police parking, give them immediate access to 36.
How many spaces are public parking? 40. Church is able to use them on the weekends, is that a plan, or?
We're gonna work something out and see how that works. But yeah, we've worked along with that now. We have an agreement with them, to use the parking lot after this.
Now, the new parking lot.
I would think so. That's the neighborhood thing to do. But not down below, not where the police are.
The police those spaces are going to be filled with TV cars. We have 13 spaces there.
Do I have to file a suit that we designed the church in the form of course? Just saying.
Only from outer space.
Got it. From a plane or a helicopter.
Or a drunk.
There's also, what do you call that, a panic room, is that what it is downstairs? So, say you're being pursued, and no man's after, you have a place to go.
Panic room is falling over right at the main entrance.
Right at the main entrance.
So if you were to come into the building, that door will, you can lock that door behind you.
No one's going to get in there.
And we have the facilities and you want us to.
Yep. We have 2 cells here and a processing area here. So, the PD would bring, the prisoner into the challenge port here, doors closed behind, direct access, to the processing and to the cells.
We've ensured that the police community has set in
I think we have to do
the Department of
corrections or,
AOC.
AOC
And DOC.
okay.
They have to,
So in addition to the, local construction officials, both AOC and DOC, we've already begun to meet with them, and they have to review it and approve it.
We look to do as much as we can on the little space that we have and still have some room for growth. That would increase the cost. Right.
but we're going to make some good time.
Say again?
We're going to make some good time, where we are now.
Got it.
Hang on a second. Yes, Doctor.
I understand emergency medical review of that ordinance.
Yeah, we're having our first time meeting here.
You define your the attic, like cases, doors, wires.
We're not there yet.
So you're not that far. Okay.
But we will.
Yeah.
All right, this level of design is the end of schematic design. To date, we've had our surveyor do a full survey of the property. We've completed, mostly completed schematic design. We have not released the design yet to our consultants, meaning our mechanical, electrical, plumbing engineer, or our structural engineer. We have not released our civil engineer yet, so we haven't done any of that work yet. We want to make sure that the plan is good, accurate, and approvable by the governing body.
How much really departments are you, obviously, language, but most of the buildings and properties, and looking at better, metal roof, maybe having a roof, and what is kind of really minimized
So we try to design the building as sustainably as possible. We will not be a LEED certified building, however, it will have sustainable components. Since there is a metal roof here, it's difficult to put PV or solar on that roof. The last thing we want to do is move the whole bit to put solar panel on it. But we can look at indoor air quality, which is the IAQ, in terms of efficiency of design. There can be, all the flows in the material today are all low flow. We can look at potential gray water reuse, which is storm water reuse. You look at something called xeriscaping, which is no local vegetation and no water required, or minimal water required with regards to the plant. You could look at pavement, such as what's called pervious pavement, so that the water flows through the pavement. All these things have cost impacts to it, so as we investigate this, all these things that I'm mentioning, you have to have a cost-benefit analysis with regard to all these items. So the things that I'm talking about, if the CBA doesn't pan out with regard to an efficiency of build and sustainability, some are going to be selected, some are not going to be selected. So we're certainly going to look at recycled materials as well as much as we can. Since it's a new build, there's very little recycled materials from the site, but we try to look at that as much as we can.
Is there an opportunity to geothermal fuel?
Geothermal heating cooling requires a well field. We haven't investigated that yet in terms of the area. If there were a well field, it would most likely be here below the parking lot and/or here. And again, there's cost impacts, so we'd have to review a CBA or something in regard to that. But it certainly can be reviewed. And again, since we haven't reduced it or anything yet, we haven't had those discussions yet. We'll have those discussions once we get to an achievable schematic design.
But being there on the floor and being very sensitive, like 2 levels, I think it's imperative to consider what we're talking about. And the whole effect of the administration. It was pretty like, there were 2 places to look at the one left and then Texas power pack.
Let's say a couple things. Number one, we have 7 people in our office, or 4 licensed architects, are all lead agents, myself included. Our office was selected to be the County of Cape May's first lead silver building. So the CI library in the County of Cape May, we were the lead consultant, actually weren't the architect, at the lead silver building. So we've done this a couple times before. In terms of sustainability, can the building have battery storage? Yes, it can. We're looking at actually Middletown, we're looking at our municipal building. We actually have battery storage there as well, as potentially part of the microgrid. So that microgrid does expand, we can potentially expand it to the infrastructure here in terms of reliability and sustainability. So we do look at those things as we design the structure. And you know what that owns
PV batteries for solar panels of the business to Tesla in a battery factory.
Okay. Sir in the back?
I similar to that, I can get all the formula and quality regulations.
Yes.
I see a lot of open space, we're all going to do underground storage and manufactured equipment.
So, since
Sir, can I please have your name and your name?
thank you for the question. Since we haven't gotten to our civil design yet. Essentially, this design will have an impact with regards to the service area on site, which is requirements for subgrade detention bases. We'll make some subgrades, and they don't have to be open areas that look like, pond, but, right, there would, it's a small site, so in terms of, you wouldn't see an open area for, a detention basin, it would like you would in a large residential development. Any detention bases here would be subgraded, and essentially subgraded detention bases are a series of pipes that kind of snake around, and all detention basin does is it slows the flow of water, especially when the water flow can't be any more than what it was pre-development or pre-site change, and you can't flood the storm system. So, the pipes, the subgrade pipes, slow the flow to a rate less than what it was prior to the development. All that will be done. Correct. We just haven't about it.
Anyone else? Chris?
Just, I know you selected a seam metal roof, right, and that will no one include solar.
I tend not to put, more than new roofs.
I understand what you're saying, right? At this
What is
point,
that for proof?
but at this point, you've got roughly 6,000 square feet of roof. That's a lot of solar. And solar installation, taking themselves,
Essentially, when you look at the subgroup, can we accommodate solar on the southern exposure? Essentially, there's unit sites that go over the roof price.
I have it in my roof, I have a flat rubber roof. You also don't want to make open.
We don't make open sites.
But I'd like to suggest that the council have a specific task justify their decision to go solar.
You can always do solar in the parking lot. You can always do solar in the parking lot. You can have it as a covered parking lot.
And that's an excellent point. So you can build, our firm's done about 10 megawatts of solar that included solar cabins. If you look at the, if you go look at the Union Beach Memorial School, which is 3+5, you'll see a solar canopy in front of the school, the bus drop-off canopy, and you'll see solar on the roof, and you'll see solar in the parking lot. Our firm has done that probably 5 or 6 years ago.
Okay, so I hate to preclude solar.
We're not precluding it, it's all cost effective.
And all I'm suggesting is to come back to us at this point with the solar complex.
And I actually have somebody on the green team, and this is green team, and the green team, you're actually looking at something.
And also because my house is pitched the exact same way, anything that's from the middle of the building, 436, you can't put panels on that because that's direct energy. Everything has to be on this side, so it wouldn't be the full 6,000 square feet. But I'm with you, I've got panels of my own, and I want panels on the building.
And I'll tell you, we looked at it at Henry Hudson, because that's a great span to have it on, and we were told, do not put solar panels on the roof.
On the middle roads.
And there's too many solar panels that are on the roof without issues, so at this point, we just need to...
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I guess just one question, when are we gonna know about the FEMA and what they're contributing and then how is that gonna roll out?
Next meeting.
The next meeting, the workshop, or?
No, next meeting.
Thank you.
All right, we'll move forward to you. And I'll give you the smaller version.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We're gonna make a motion to go to executive session.
I will make a motion to go to executive session.
Resolution for executive session, whereas the Open Public Meeting Act, Public Law 1975, Chapter 231 permits the exclusion of the public from a meeting in certain circumstances. And whereas the public body is in the opinion that such circumstances presently exist. And whereas the governing body wishes to discuss attorney-client privilege, Highlands Business Partnership, Captain Field Marina, contract negotiations, economic development officer, minutes will be kept, and once the matter involving the confidentiality of the above no longer requires that confidentiality, then the minutes will be made public. Now therefore be resolved, the mayor and council go into executive session to discuss the above items, and the public is excluded from the meeting. The first is Carolyn Breon, the second is Rosemary Ryan. Councilmember Broswell? Yes. Councilmember Breon? Yes. Councilmember Zola? Councilmember Zola?
She said yes.
Councilmember Ryan?
Yes.
Mayor O'Neill? Yes. Executive session is entered into at 7:20 p.m. As the requirement of Public Law 1975, Chapter 231, notice is hereby given that this is a regular meeting of the Borough of Highlands, Mayor and Council, and all requirements are met. Notice has been transmitted to the Exeter Park Press and Tubular Times. Notice has been posted to the public bulletin board. Formal action will be taken. Time will be allowed for the public comment after this meeting. Each speaker may be allowed a limited time to be recognized by the presiding officer. Individuals wishing to address the council shall be recognized by the presiding officer in charge of their name, address, and group whom they represent. Although the council encourages public participation and reserves the right to the presiding officer to submit remarks and/or about any individual not consistent with the conduct of a proper and efficient means. The council will not, during the public portion of this meeting, discuss matters involving employment, appointment, termination, or employment negotiations, terms, conditions of employment, evaluation of the performance of promotion or discipline of any specific or prospective of current employees. We all stand for pledge of allegiance. Councilmember Broswell?
Here.
Councilmember Breon? Here. Councilmember Zola? Here. Councilmember Ryan?
Here.
Mayor O'Neill?
Here.
Minutes, December 19th, 2018. Do I have a motion to approve? I'll offer.
I'll second. Roll call?
Councilmember Broswell?
Yes.
Councilmember Breon?
Yes.
Councilmember Zola?
Abstain.
Councilmember Ryan?
Yes.
Mayor O'Neill?
Yes.
December 19th, 2018 minutes have been properly approved. The minutes of February 6th, 2019, do I have a motion to approve?
I'll make it.
I'll second.
Roll call?
Councilmember Broswell?
Yes.
Councilmember Breon?
Yes.
Councilmember Zola?
Yes.
Councilmember Ryan?
Yes.
Mayor O'Neill?
Yes.
The minutes of February 6th, 2019 have been properly approved. The minutes of the February 20th, 2019, do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
Roll call?
Councilmember Broswell?
Yes.
Councilmember Breon?
Yes.
Councilmember Zola?
Yes.
Councilmember Ryan?
Yes.
Mayor O'Neill?
Yes.
The minutes for the February 20th, 2019 meeting have been properly approved. Consent agenda, Resolution 19-082, approve payment of bills. Resolution 19-083, authorize refund of tax overpayment. Resolution 19-084, authorize refund of sewer overpayment. Resolution 19-085, amend members of the Green Team. Resolution 19-086, approval request of waiver of alcohol ban at the community center. Resolution 19-087, authorize disposal of surplus property. And Resolution 19-088, approve fire department membership.
I'll offer.
I'll second.
Roll call?
Councilmember Broswell.
Yes.
Councilmember Breon.
Yes.
Councilmember Zola.
Yes.
Councilmember Ryan.
Yes.
Mayor O'Neill.
Yes.
The consent agenda has been properly approved. Resolutions. Authorized amendment to the 2019 temporary budget. Do I have a motion?
I'll make that.
I'll second.
Roll call?
Councilmember Broswell.
Yes.
Councilmember Breon.
Yes.
Councilmember Zola.
Yes.
Councilmember Ryan.
Yes.
Mayor O'Neill.
Yes.
Resolution 19-089 has been properly approved. Resolution 19-090, introduced the 2019 municipal budget. Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second. Roll call?
Councilmember Broswell?
Yes.
Councilmember Breon?
Yes.
Councilmember Zola?
Yes.
Councilmember Ryan?
Yes.
Mayor O'Neill.
Yes.
Resolution 1909 was properly approved. Resolution 19091, authorized award of non-fair open contract for a licensed plan to prepare an amendment redevelopment plan for Block 84, Lot 2.01. Do I have a motion?
I'll offer.
I'll second.
Roll call?
Councilmember Broswell?
Yes.
Councilmember Breon?
Yes.
Councilmember Zola?
Yes.
Councilmember Ryan?
Yes.
Mayor O'Neill.
Yes.
Resolution 19091 has been properly approved. Resolution 19092, certify and approve the 2018 First Aid LoSAP contributions. Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Councilmember Broswell?
Yes.
Councilmember Breon?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazzola?
Yes.
Councilmember Ryan?
Yes.
Mayor Neal?
Yes.
Resolution 19092 has been properly approved. Resolution 19093, approving salary increase for senior account clerk. Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second. Roll call.
Councilmember Broswell?
Yes.
Councilmember Breon?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazzola?
Yes.
Councilmember Ryan?
Yes.
Mayor Neal?
Yes.
Resolution 19093 has been properly approved. Resolution 19094, award non-fair and open contract to CME for Valley Street Improvement Construction Administration. Do I have a motion?
I'll make it.
I'll second.
Roll call.
Councilmember Broswell?
Yes.
Councilmember Breon?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazzola?
Yes.
Councilmember Ryan?
Yes.
Mayor Neal?
Yes.
Resolution 19094 has been properly approved. Ordinances, introduction and first reading. Ordinance 1905, amend Chapter 11 concerning the Uniform Fire Code. Do I have a motion to introduce?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Councilmember Roswell?
Yes.
Councilmember Breon?
Isn't this the silly one about the ashes and cinders?
No.
and Cinderella?
No.
That's coming next.
That's
Councilmember Breon?
I still don't agree with, no, I'm gonna say no, because the clouds come and the snow ends up on your car.
That's
not the-
This is right here.
No, that's the bottom.
This is amending the ordinance concerning the uniform fire code.
Apologies.
Your
Out of
vote?
order. Yes.
Still no?
No, I will vote yes.
Councilmember Mazzola?
Yes.
Councilmember Ryan?
Yes.
Mayor Neal?
Yes.
Ordinance 1905 has been properly introduced. The public hearing of this ordinance will be March 20th, 2019. Ordinance 1906, amend Chapter 17, establishing a business improvement district. Do I have a motion to introduce?
I'll make it.
I'll second.
Roll call.
Councilmember Broswell?
This is,
Introduce it.
This is 06. Introduce.
abstain, please?
Councilmember Breon?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazzola?
Yes.
Councilmember Ryan?
Yes.
Mayor Neal?
Yes.
Ordinance 1906 has been properly introduced. The public hearing will be held on March 20th, 2019. Ordinance 1907, exceed the municipal budget appropriation limit to establish a cap bank. Do I have a motion to introduce?
I'll make that.
I'll second.
Roll call.
Councilmember Broswell?
Yes.
Councilmember Breon?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazzola?
Yes.
Councilmember Ryan?
Yes.
Mayor O'Neill?
Yes.
Ordinance 1907 has been properly introduced. The public hearing will be on March 20th, 2019. Ordinance second reading and public hearing, possible adoption. Ordinance 1903, amend Chapter 8-5 of the Borough Code, snow and ice removal. We will open the meeting to the public.
Public.
Any public wishing to speak, please come to the podium. We need your name and your address.
Kim Skorka, Shore Drive. Just real quick, I don't see what the point of the ordinance is, because the plows don't come, and they don't plow to the curb, and they don't clear the gutters, and they don't clear the storm drains. So it doesn't make a difference whether people are putting snow in the gutters or not.
Anybody else? Short and quick like that? No? Okay. You're doing a good job of it that time, appreciate that. I'll close public portion.
Adopt ordinance 1903.
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second?
I guess not.
With no second, the ordinance has failed. Okay, the public hearing and possible adoption for ordinance 1904 will be March 20th, 2019. Other business, administrator's report.
Good evening. February consisted of multiple meetings with residents, and I also had multiple meetings with the mayor that we drove down to Trenton. We discussed multiple shared service agreements in the work and feasibility studies. The current projects for the borough are the Valley Street drainage program you'll see that workers are back on the streets. They're going to be doing water main replacement for New Jersey American Water, for the replacement of the water main on Valley, along through Bay Avenue. They're going to then replace a stormwater pipe, and then you're going to see utility pole replacement as well. In 6 to 8 weeks, they're going to then be doing the paving and concrete work, and that will then be the completion of the Valley Street drainage project. The Waterwitch Sanitary and Storm Project, they are just completing the surveying and spec phase, and we are in the I-Bank application phase with the engineers, the CFO, and the attorney that's working on that. That's going to be a long phase as well, so we're not going to be breaking any ground or getting out that project anytime soon. Veterans Park Electric, you'll see that the platform has now been completed, and the electric has to be now done by the electrician, running that wire, so hopefully for our concerts in the park, that electric will be done, and there will not be generators running. The municipal building, the architect was here tonight and went over the floor plan that we're hoping to go with that schematic phase. And we're hoping that those specs will be completed for early summer. We can bid that out and break ground for the fall. We are still waiting for a grant award, word for the NJDOT and some mitigation funding. And New Jersey Natural Gas is going to be doing some work on Chestnut, Grand Tour, and Upper Portland, and the borough will be doing whatever New Jersey Natural Gas will not be completing for Upper Portland. That is something that we will work with the county doing the paving portion of that project. Just so you know, we also will be looking into Locust Street, and that will probably be the next funding portion of NJDOT grant funding, and then those surrounding street areas for the next grant. The Art Council will be holding a camera club for teens, so if you have any teens in the area that are interested in doing a camera club, it'll be held here at the community center, no cost. The Recreation Committee is holding a car show, May 10th, is that correct? And Park Fest, it will be multiple different music activities in all of the parks in Highlands on May 18th. It'll be starting at Huddy Park and continue through all the different parks at Veterans Park. There'll be chess tournaments, different acoustic bands, and there'll also be the Highlands Film Festival, which will be October 5th, and other different community events. Well, and Sundays, of course, the Irish event that's here at the community center. It'll be some good trad Irish music. If no one knows what trad Irish music is, it's all nice acoustic instruments. So if you want to come, and we'll have some food for everyone to try, some good American corned beef and cabbage and shepherd's pie. That's about it. Is anyone?
American corned beef. It's from my relatives in Ireland, gave me the recipe.
Okay.
And yep, and we will be making Irish soda bread.
That's right. So, and as always, you guys can call me, come visit me, and text me. That's all I have.
We're very busy administratively. The city department, a lot going on. As you weren't here earlier, we're talking about potential of county dispatch. There were a lot of medical officers involved in that. We need about 2 people at the meeting of other people, police, who are involved in that. More involved in the building. We have the team together. I see our officers. Got Rocky told me, Dennis, you want to team with me. I didn't even have to look at it tonight today because it's on the wall in the office. They're at it every single day. It's a big project. There's a lot of work involved. We also have some training that we have to do. Some training that we're all in the practice office. We do a year for that.
Thank you.
Start it off. Public portion.
Please come up to the podium, state your name and your address.
Mr. Solomon.
Steve Solomon, 205 Bay Avenue. I guess my question is directed toward you, Brian. You know, I've been wondering about this executive session, and, you know, from what I understand, executive session is to discuss legal issues and possibly employee issues, and I keep seeing that, you know, there's other things on here that really, I guess, should be, you know, the public should know about it, in particular, the HVP. Ever since the beginning of the year that we started these meetings, there's been an executive session, attorney-client privilege, and as a member of the bid, I think that I should be entitled to know what's going on in those meetings.
That there's an exception for attorney-client privilege, and when I give advice to the mayor and council, that we're not entitled to that. You know, you will be informed as to what is transpiring, but me giving legal advice to the mayor and council is absolutely privileged. And it's not only doesn't help the use back, but by attorney-client privilege.
Yeah, but it's a public entity, okay? So, you know, you can do that on the side. I mean, the fact of the matter is, I'd like to know what's going on. Those are my tax dollars, and I've got a little bit of a beef with these people.
I understand that, and I'm not divulging anything that I've said because it's attorney-client privilege, but if the mayor and council wish to advise...
So you're denying me access to any of that information? Is that what's happening here?
Privilege is not
Privilege? By whose definition?
attorney-client privilege. You can ask the mayor and council what they're, you know...
Well, I'd like to know, and I'm sure there's other people that would like to know as well.
And once the time is set, we need to discuss the things, and we need to know, we'll let you know.
Yeah, but, you know, there's got to be other things being discussed. I mean, as far as, you know, the other things that aren't being followed as far as the ordinance is concerned, we don't get a budget to discuss, we don't get an event schedule to discuss. It all happens because, you know, nobody's keeping an eye on it.
The budget that is presented in the event...
Well, I'm just saying, Rick, I'm saying in general, you know, in the past,
That comes
you know.
from you guys, not from us. You guys come up with that.
That happens at the HPP meetings.
No, that's not good. You know, you have the gift of gab. The word gift and gab, Carolyn. I've got to tell you.
Effectively, Ordinance Code 1906 is going to be open for public discussion at March 20th, and the budget is going to be
Well, you know what,
discussed
you've been
at
having them since,
The beginning of the year, I'd like to know what's going on. You know, my business is affected by those decisions, as are other people's business.
Yes, ma'am.
Tina Kemmer, 164 Linden Avenue. I have a totally unrelated, again, this has to do with the Monmouth Journal, so it's dated February 15th. I think the last time I brought something up from that. I just wanted to mention that, so we got a feature of the Highlands Police Department blotter, and I just wanted to note that, you know, we're a very small community, and we have 15 listed, possession of CDSs, controlled dangerous substance, marijuana, DWI. I mean, it goes on. DWI, marijuana. I guess my question is, we obviously have some sort of drug problem happening in this town, which I'm sure everybody is aware of. Reading it in the paper, it's obviously it brings to light a very bad point about our town. And I'm just wondering, what are we doing to combat drugs? And how are we, you know, going to turn this around so that we get somebody that makes a wrong turn and gets, you know, pulled over for simple things, not for drugs?
Well, we do have an alliance coordinator, and we do drug alliance activities, if that's what you're asking. We have a wonderful police force. I mean, it's not the only thing that we are active on. I believe that...
But is it a gang-related issue? I mean, are there kids?
Well,
I
it
mean,
might just be people passing through. It might just be going...
I mean, if you do look at the addresses that are, I mean, you have to...
I think that most of them are all out of towners.
but so then how does that happen? Is our town a place that...
If somebody's driving on the highway, I mean, I've seen the police sitting there collusion. They could pull somebody over at any time and do a DUI stop. I think a DUI stop isn't necessarily something that you would say, oh, that's because we're driving through Highlands. We see plenty of them through, Seabright, Monmouth Beach, Highlands. I think that that's...
Okay, I'm just trying to figure it out.
You know what I can do? I can meet with the police chief and I can get back to you.
That's the chief who's sitting right there. I think
Yeah.
he's capable of answering some of these questions. I think they're all...
Not as easy as it sounds, man. I was ready to talk to you afterwards.
Oh,
I just want to make one thing clear. Usually what goes on in the papers, I don't put out there. Open public records, people will talk to. That's put it out there. Usually, if there's something that's out of the ordinary, this stuff isn't, we put that in Boston, that we put out, we put that out.
right.
Everybody else can.
Yeah, these are just general, they're put out every other week or so, but it's just an inordinate amount of DWI and drug activity in a very small, concentrated area here in Highlands. And whether they pass through, and it just seems like, are we the kind of place that people do their drug dealing? Are we the kind of place that people... We're not. Okay. Okay. Okay, then, thank you.
Thank you.
Sir. Brian Cobb, 11 Recreation Place. I just want to say a good word to the administrator, Kim Gonzalez. They're doing a great job for our area. There's, in front of, on Marine Place, on the bulkhead of Marine Place, it has been cleaned up. It's never looked better in the last 20 years. It really looks good. It's been great. We really appreciate it. You didn't do it. I understand. And anyway, my question regards Resolution 19092, the Captain's Cove Marina situation. My neighbors are concerned about what may or may not happen there. We expect to be given notice, I believe, correct me, the attorney may want to correct me if I'm wrong, I believe we deserve notice of zoning changes. We're within that 200 feet perimeter, so we expect to get notices of zoning changes.
It's gotta go to the planning board.
Yes.
And we'll definitely get it soon.
Land use.
The local housing development law will be amended redevelopment plan at some point that will be proposed by ordinance, that will be transmitted to the land use board. They then have 45 days to transmit a report back to the governing body. It will be on the agenda, but there's no specific notice requirement under the local housing and redevelopment law. This is redevelopment. You're talking about...
This is not a zoning change.
Correct. Well, the redevelopment plan becomes the zoning for the area. So, but this is the local housing redevelopment law. This is different provision.
This is a whole different thing. Okay.
It's an entirely different statutory...
Is there a document? In the resolution it states, 5 paragraphs, 6 paragraphs down, whereas in order to achieve the borough's objectives, is there a statement in a redevelopment plan already published of these objectives? Master plan. So it's master plan
And the latest master plan redetermination report. And that's on the front page of the borough website, just scroll down to the bottom.
Okay. Got it. Okay. Those are my questions. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Hi, I'm Anya Clitheroe. I live on Washington Avenue, and I guess it's a follow-on from Brian's point. So, my understanding is we already have a feasibility study that's taken place, and we've read all about redeveloping the marina, which we were looking forward to. And now, of course, the word on the street is the new redevelopment plan is the feasibility study is to fill in the marina and build houses. So I appreciate that there's processes, and I don't understand the complexities of land use boards and things like that. I just wondered if good practice, if that is such a significant thing that is being proposed or looked at, would be to have some consultation with people prior to spending money on another feasibility study.
Consultation as to what?
Well, so I'm obviously hearing what I'm hearing around, word on the street, so I don't know what's rumour, what's fact. If it's going to be something as significant as filling in the marina and completely changing it and building houses, that feels to me as something that it would be nice if there was some consultation.
Now, I'm not sure, and the attorney can...
Well,
Okay.
that'll be spelled out in the amended redevelopment plan if that's the process. Currently, there is a redevelopment plan in place, and that constitutes the zoning for Block 84, Lot 2.1. That's what's in place now. But the local housing redevelopment law allows you or permits you to amend that redevelopment plan because you can't go get a variance from a redevelopment plan. That's the zoning. So as far as notice, the redevelopment plan has to be introduced by ordinance. That's your notice. It will be sent to the land use board. The land use board will have a hearing. They'll report back to the governing body, and then there'll be a public hearing for adoption. So that's the notice.
Yeah, and I apologise, I don't understand
that's
a lot
okay.
of these processes.
No, but-
I'm just feeling like spending money before there's been a conversation about something that's going to be a major impact. It just feels, as a layperson, it might be nice to actually have the conversation and understand before more money's spent. I know that's completely out of process, but just in a small town, it just feels like it might be an appropriate approach.
We're not doing another feasibility study. We already had a feasibility study done a year and a half ago, for this area to be deemed an area for redevelopment. So
Yeah.
that has been done.
Yeah.
And the planner came back with something which we adopted, but now we're looking to see if we're going to amend that.
Okay.
But there's no need for another feasibility study.
So,
A different set of plans have come in
okay.
that weren't included in the first feasibility study. Now, I believe we're going to look into the possibility or where that is to go.
So I read the thing about redeveloping the marina, and that sounded like a great plan, right? And the building and the bait shop and all those things. So is that now not going forward, or?
No, that would be part of it, but I guess a speculative buyer is looking to come in and do something else with it.
Okay. So there's nothing that we can do until, I'm just worried that it sounds like we're going to be a long way down the
I believe it depends
process.
upon how it fits into the plan. I believe that's how that works. This is new for us too. We've never been in a redevelopment before.
So we don't even know if DEP is going to allow it.
Right. There's several different things, but there is a proposal on the table from a prospective buyer, purchaser, developer that is probably looking to do some of the things you said. Go in a bulkhead, put in some houses, redo the front part of the marina, make marina there. That is true. That is definitely true.
But we don't get to input into that till it sounds like it's gone quite a lot further through a process,
So
which doesn't feel like the right point in the process to get the people who are going to be impacted input.
correct, and it might not be, but that's the way this redevelopment process goes. And that's why you're not noticed in 200 feet and those kind of things. Am I on the right line, Brian? Am I on the right line with that?
Can you just repeat it?
You are on the right line.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
pretty much what's going on there. Because I've heard it, and I'll verify it. Yes, the guy has come in with plans to fill that marina in, if possible. Build, and the number right now is 14.
Nothing entirely.
Right, 14 houses, 16 boat slips. 16
Yeah.
to 20 boat
But
slips.
it's still going to
Those things are
impact, even if
correct.
it's only X percentage of the marina. And it just,
Those things are correct.
it feels like as a town, we should get a say on whether we even want a developer to look into doing that.
Where would the residents say come in? At the land use board?
Well, before the land use board, we'll have that open meeting where they're going to provide comments to you, and then when the ordinance is up for adoption, to adopt that amended redevelopment plan, that's the public hearing. And that redevelopment plan will amended redevelopment plan will be available, and we will see what it says.
And at that point, we are able to stop the whole thing, should there be enough.
Well, it depends upon actually what comes back, If
I mean, it's hard to stop a development plan once we put this in, because you purchase the land, and it's your right to purchase a piece of property, and if you're building something within the confines of the law, that's your right to build that piece of property, I'm not.
And I
So,
believe in a redevelopment
it's not a public area that's being, it's not a public piece of land that's being developed, it's private property. So,
Sounds like there isn't a change of use though, housing as opposed
well,
to...
that was part
The
of...
redevelopment plan becomes the zoning for the property, and the law is designed to give control to the municipality so they can work with the developer and have a joint vision. And then thereafter, they can do a redevelopment agreement, they can agree on infrastructure improvements and all things of that nature. But when you say change, it is the zoning for the property.
It feels a bit like we're going around in a circle. And I'm feeling a bit like it's going to get to a point where nothing can be done to stop it. And I guess I've heard
to stop what?
to stop maybe someone building houses, it's going to have a massive impact on an existing set of residents, and whether the town actually wants to lose part of the marina, and whether we don't want to go forward with the approved plan.
And I would think you're right. There will come a time, because like you said, I believe with a redevelopment plan, he has to build conforming. Can't use a variance, right?
No, there's absolutely no variances in the redevelopment plan.
Generally, in a land use situation, you'll be noticed within 200 feet because the purchaser of the property is asking for permission.
So had the person purchased the property before the approved plan to redevelop the marina?
I'm not sure that the property was purchased, but I haven't had further clarification of that.
I thought someone said that someone purchased the property.
I think it was under contract, but I don't think it's closed.
Okay.
So,
And does this public hearing happen before it closes, so they can still...
we have no idea. I don't,
No.
we're not privy to when it
That's a
closes.
private transaction. That has nothing to do with the borough. This is not, there's two different types of redevelopment. There's one involving eminent domain and condemnation. This is a non-condemnation. This is a private developer purchasing property from a private owner.
So what would you advise the residents to do who do not want to see the marina filled in? And
I can't advise you, but as I indicated, there's public hearing portions, whereas you can go to the land use board, and you can also come before the council when the amended redevelopment plan, if and when it becomes introduced, is up for adoption. That's going to be open to the public.
Okay.
But also on that, with the redevelopment plan, that's been out there that this is in fact a redevelopment plan, and nobody has really come to say, you know what, I'm going to buy that marina, I'm going to fix that marina, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. You know, it has set stagnant for what? A couple guys browsed it, yeah, but, you know, what this venture is, whether it was, in my opinion, whether it's filling in, putting houses in, or redoing that whole marina, this is a very large and expensive project.
And one person came in and thought that he would buy the property and that's just $250,000 and get it working. And I don't think that you can get that fixed at $250,000.
The marina, as it is a big liability to the borough and to the neighborhood. So, if we want, the borough is not going to pay to fix it, it's private property. So, we have to take into consideration that if someone shows interest to put
I understand all
money
that.
into it to fix that problem, you know, we're going to listen and see what they have to say.
And this, the questions that you're asking are not unusual to the kind of property. You know, you have a stand of wood behind your house for years, you usually keep those Freeport there. And all of a sudden, somebody buys it, and the next thing you know, they're putting in 4 houses because it's conforming to that. You know, you don't have anything to say about that because they build conforming.
I know. I mean, there's a lot more about good process and what's right, and people who've invested a lot of money post-Sandy to rebuild on the basis of, you know, so I think there's a lot more. It would be nice to feel that more input has been taken from people who have
And there
all
will
that
be
money.
time for input to be taken.
Yeah. I'm hearing it sounds like we probably won't get a lot of option to do things as the process will move. I mean, obviously we'll be at the land use board and hope, you know, but for things like the wildlife and everything as well, but,
You know, and on the other side of it is how long is it going to take for somebody to come in and do something there? You know, it's a double-edged sword, and it cuts both ways, and either way it cuts it hurts.
okay. Well, thank you for clearing up some of the process for me.
Well, I hope we did, you know.
Yeah, I'm not saying I'm going away optimistic, but I feel like
We're looking to understand some of this ourselves.
Yeah, okay. I guess what I asked, and I'm sure I'm asking on behalf of other residents here who live in the area, that you work closely with us and consult with us, that would be great.
Okay. Thanks for coming out. Anybody else have a question? Work is already up there, so I guess.
I'm trying to move it along for you, Ricky. I'm doing my best. A question on Resolution 19091. And correct me if I have my understanding of the history wrong. The borough and the council let that marina fall into a state of disrepair over the years.
No.
It was, I've been to the meetings, they weren't, you guys, not you personally, but the council and the borough was not sitting on top of Mr. Rosiak for the repairs he should have been making over the years. So the borough said, hey, let's do a redevelopment plan, see if we can get somebody to come in and do something with it.
Correct.
So you hired Hayer, Gruel, whatever their name is, to do it. You paid them a nice chunk of money. They came in, they said, here's our plan, and the council said, great, let's adopt it. Apparently, it was good enough then. And just because you couldn't wait another couple of months, another couple of years, that's been in disrepair for easily 5-10 years, you can't wait for somebody to come in and do that plan. You're going to bend over backwards for a developer and spend another 65... Excuse me, Ricky, I'm not done yet. And I'm not going to take too much more time. But you're going to spend another $6,500 to the company who did not do a good enough report and did not give enough options. You're going to give them even more money to come back with a report. And then what if they say, maybe not? How much more money are we going to give the same company to do middling work, insufficient work, something that's not good enough? Shouldn't the developer be paying for this report? Why are our tax dollars being spent on something that existing residents don't want? Yeah, they don't want that crappy marina in the condition it's in, but they don't want houses blocking their view.
Thank you.
Michael Cannon, same subject, I just... Okay. Michael Cannon, 10 Central Ave. Same subject, and I'm just wondering, I want to understand, the existing redevelopment plan has certain objectives, one of which is to maintain public access to the waterfront. It sets the zoning, it excludes residential use in the zoning that's in there, or the redevelopment plan. Is this new redevelopment plan going to reset objectives and not require maintaining public access to the water? And is it just really sort of rubber stamping what's being proposed? Or is there honest input from the community of what we want to see with that land? Because it's, the public access to view sheds of the water, even if we don't have physical access, is really important to everyone in the community here. And I just want to, how do we get input in setting the objectives that this plan is going to have to attain?
I mean, like I said, if and when there's a satisfactory amended redevelopment plan, it's going to be made publicly available. And the public can comment on it before the land use board when they have their hearing to do their report for the governing body. And then because it's done by ordinance, when it's on for adoption, you can make your comments and have your input at that time.
But that seems like after the fact, we don't have input in the objective. And I think it's important that somehow they know what the community, or somehow the community's objectives are part of the plan. The process of developing that plan should have everyone's input.
Michael, I think I actually, if I can speak as well, I think that I do agree with what Michael's saying as well. And I think that a lot of the residents, looking out, I do have a few residents that are concerned with some of the things that are happening in that area of town with flooding, with certain things that should be done, that should have been done. And I think that when we do amend the plan, there are certain things that we should take into consideration when it is amended, if it is amended, and how we amend it. So yes, there are some items that have been brought up that we need to write into the plan going forward. We can talk about that, but it is the type of pavement. It is, I have spoken to Linda and Carolyn, and I've spoken to everyone about the type of pavers that are used, what needs to be done, about what is filled in. You know what I'm talking about.
Fill anything in.
Right, and it was before that, things could not be filled in, and because of when that is a man-made area, that is a man-made marina, and that's why it can be filled in, and that's why I am meeting with the DEP. We are looking at, why is that sanitary failing over there? Who is gonna repair it? Is the borough gonna repair it? No, or is the developer gonna repair it? Is that stormwater, it needs to be studied, who's gonna repair that? Is the developer gonna repair that? That should be written into the plan itself. There are multiple things that should be written into the plan, right?
I'm mostly concerned that the objectives,
You're right,
take
and there
into
are
account
things
the
that,
long-term, not short-term gain,
I agree
or
with
the
you,
long-term.
and I understand where you're
versus
coming
the long-term maintaining
Agree.
public use of that area.
Right.
Public, even if it's only visual.
Agree.
Thank you.
Somebody else? Yes, ma'am. Hey.
Allison Nottemaker, 40 Barbary. Again, I'm piggybacking off of Mike in regards to the Captain's Cove Marina issue. I've kind of been doing a little bit of research. I've got a background in political science and policy studies. I've worked in zoning. My question is more or less revolving around that paper roadway, which I believe is called Rogers Avenue or Rogers Way. Without that additional footage being offered potentially to this developer, does he actually have enough room to do this proposed potential project without needing a variance? Because from what I understood, I thought that a paper road in that regard would basically, should anything change with it, would have to be offered for purchase by the properties abutting it. And I might be wrong about that.
I think you're on the right track.
What I found about it. So how does that now impact?
We have never offered for sale that piece of property.
So what, is that going to be used? Because how does that impact the residents that live on that side of the marina? Whose properties run right along
Well, the
there?
planner is analyzing that, so I don't think anyone can answer that right now, but the planner is looking into that issue. So-
And there's no potential, for the borough to try to sell that piece of land, or,
We haven't even discussed that.
okay. Maybe I must get ahead,
Like when
but,
it came up.
No,
That was not-
I've heard
that
the
was-
same thing.
Yeah, but-
Yeah, we heard it, but we weren't talking about that. That was never in
right.
the
Like,
original.
and many of the other residents have said the same thing, that, the rumor mills are on fire right now.
Yeah, they are.
Everybody's very uncertain. I think one of our biggest concerns, I have young children in the school system. If they build 14 new homes, is potentially with families moving in, can the school system handle it?
I can answer yes to that question.
With the water with pump station, is that going to be able to handle it? There's just so many uncertainties and so many residents are upset about it. And I think a big thing is, it does take away that water view. So people who have invested in that area alone millions of dollars to renovate their homes as a community overall, that have that water view, however small it may be, isn't it almost doing a disservice to those members of the community, because you're almost like taking away value, taking away that water view.
With the redoing of the redevelopment plan, it's going to open up to ask all those questions. It's not something that I believe that it's set in stone, that it will have to be agreed on, so it has to go before the board.
Right.
And the land use board.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Hi, this is Rivera, 31 Waterwich. I just wanted to state that on February 19th of this year, I received a private message from Rosemary Ryan stating, and I quote, "I believe there is a buyer for Captain Cove," in which I replied, "Good news, I hope they build up and green." She then replied, "He wants to put the whole new bulkhead around the marina. He wanted to fill some of it in too, but we will see if that can be done." He is a high-end builder, so this is great. So I'm not sure how it changed from putting in a whole new bulkhead around the marina with some possible fill into filling in three-quarters of the marina and building homes and private slips, which is the plan that was confirmed from the land use board member. You are all aware that we live in a flood... Can I finish my statement?
No, I don't know where the land use board confirmed anything.
Okay, well, you said 16 homes, so whatever, 16 homes, 16
And when I sent you that message...
Can I finish my statement, please? When I'm done, you can say what you want, but let me finish
Well,
my
actually, I
statement.
run the meeting, it don't work like that. Okay, so go on.
You are all aware that we live in a floodplain with sea levels rising, and many countries and U.S. states have successfully reduced their flood risk with the combination of both hard infrastructure along with creating green infrastructure such as rain gardens, pocket parks, buffer zones, ravines, detention basins, canals, etc. The mindset being to give water more space, preventing overflow by prioritizing flood risk over density. Creating more land and density by filling in a marina that acts as a long canal is simply not smart development in a floodplain and lessens our sustainability. The overdevelopment and high-density building in this town has caused more issues from landslides to runoffs to serious sewage and drainage issues, continually creating more risks for existing residents. Once again, we are chasing ratables over the health and long-term well-being of this town and its residents. We have a study after study, including our own master plan, that has acknowledged our biggest asset is our waterfront, our local clamming and fishing community. We're a clamtastic town, the Clam Fest. This is the only area left in Highlands with public access to the waterfront, other than Veterans Park. And instead of using this asset to our advantage, along with helping our local fishing community, this new plan would be privatizing a historic marina, cutting off more access, and will destroy our local clams. Finally, I can't wrap my head around, after all the residents have been through with Mr. Rosiak's abuse, lack of action from the municipality for years, that in good conscience, you would consider this plan knowing all too well it would negatively affect the residents, particularly over and around the marina. It will affect their property values, water views, and quality of life to benefit a rogue marina owner and a developer. These are your neighbors. These are contributed members of the community, and it shows a complete lack of decency and respect, and sadly makes me question your character and ability to truly represent the best interests of this town and its residents. So I would please ask you to reconsider this entire plan and move forward with the already approved redevelopment plan. Thank you.
Anybody else? Anybody else have any comments? Okay, seeing none, I'll close the public portion. Anybody from the table?
Motion to adjourn.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? The meeting is adjourned at 8:58 PM.
There you go.